Hey everybody, it's Coach Jason. I hope you're doing well. It's been a while since I posted a video, but now I'm going to be posting regularly again. Today I want to talk about 7 critical things to remember when you're training for a marathon. Okay, I've done detailed marathon training videos, and I've done other things in terms of training for races from 5K to all the way up to the marathon. So if you want a lot of meat and potato training details from beginning to end for a full cycle, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so, and look at all the videos in my videos list. You'll see everything from 5K all the way up to the marathon, specific time goals, how to set your training paces, how to stay injury-free, and so on. But I want to talk about things that can be easily overlooked, or sometimes people just don't even think about when you're training for the marathon, okay? And usually I have my blackboard up here or my whiteboard, but I'm going to go over it on my list. This is research. It's been proven. It's been practiced and tried and true. Okay, so number 1, speed development. A lot of people that are training for the marathon overlook speed development, whether it be sprinting once a week, or hill sprinting once a week, and then flat sprinting a second day in the week after an easy run. It helps with your running economy, helps become a more efficient runner. The idea is to conserve the most amount of energy as possible when you're running for the marathon. It's a longer race, and once your form starts to go, it's not like a 5K. It's not like a 5K where you have a mile left and you can come back the following week if you have an off day. Marathon, the recovery period is much longer, and once your form goes, you start to fall apart in a marathon. So being as efficient as possible is very important. Okay, so speed development. What kind of speed do you incorporate? Look in the description down below, and you'll see some videos that I give specific details on when it comes to marathon. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, okay, never ever experiment with something, either race week or race day, whether it be new shoes or new fueling, hydrating. If you're doing your long runs and you fuel every 3 to 5 miles, do the same thing on race day. Don't start to fuel every mile, or change the way you take in gels or liquids or something like that. Don't change the frequency in which you do it or the method in which you do it, especially on race day. Okay, and if you have new shoes, break them in, give them a month or 2. Okay, especially if you're going to use them for a marathon, you have to give them a chance to break in. You have to give your feet a chance to get used to them. So, never experiment with anything on a race day, and particularly in a ladder cycle of training. So, if you're doing a 12 to 16 week training cycle for, let's say, for half marathon or a marathon, or a 20-week one for a marathon, if you're going to try something new, try it early on, or try it in your off season. Okay, and then kind of learn how to incorporate it throughout the training cycle. Okay, last thing you want to do is have a setback and then have to miss weeks or days and so on and so forth. So we want to avoid those types of things, especially with a marathon. You generally can only do 1 or 2 a year. Some people do more, but if you really want to hit it right, 2 a year max is probably the ideal situation. And you're going to have to be as precise with as much stuff as possible. So that's number 2. Number 3, okay, this is an important one too. Know what you're wearing way beforehand, and make sure you've used it in runs and workouts and so on and so forth. The last thing you want, and I've seen this thing happen, it's happened to me with marathon, especially with guys: bloody nipples, bloody armpits, groin super chafing in the groin or up in the armpits. Those are the worst things, especially in a marathon. So you want to have you want to have the right clothing. You want to make sure that you're, oiling up in the right areas if you need to. But those things are important, but know exactly what you're going to wear and wear them a few times before the race, okay? Especially your shorts. Sometimes the shorts will scratch and chafe the inside of your leg. Like I said, the armpits. You want to make sure that those things don't happen when you need it the most, okay? Number 4, this one is very important. Long run variation. And what I mean by that is whether you're doing a long run that's a 20-mile long run that's 90% of your goal marathon pace, and then you go up to 21 miles at 90 to 95% or whatever. Those are steady pace long runs, but it's also good to incorporate a long run where you start the first, let's say you start I'm just going to use 20 miles as an example. Let's say you run the first 5 miles steady, the middle 10 miles at marathon pace, the last 5 miles steady. And the next time you do the first 10 at marathon pace, the last 10 steady. And then you do the first 10 steady and the last 10 at marathon pace. You need to know what it feels like to run marathon pace at every point during the run. So if your long run's up to 23, you can do a 20, or 22. You can do a 22-mile long run, 20 of which is steady or progression, and the last 2 at marathon pace. So you're hitting marathon pace, at the latter part of that run when things start to feel foreign. And generally, at 20-mile mark is when people start to fall apart. You want to have that preparation that point afterwards. So this is when you go to the lab. These are the types of runs and the certain types of workouts that help you get there, okay, and help you be much more prepared for the marathon, specifically with the long run. There's a lot of different variations of a long run, and I'll put those in the description down below as well. I've got a video for that, so to give you some options. Okay, number 5. This one is hugely important. Okay, eat very well. Okay, obviously, but specifically 2 nights before the marathon. Let's say if your marathon Sunday, Friday, you want to make sure you have a little bit more of a protein-heavy, lighter on the carbs meal. And then the night before, more heavy on the carbs and lighter on the protein. Obviously, you want to have easily digestible stuff, but it takes about 48 hours for those things to translate into fuel, specifically proteins. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have the right fuels leading up to a marathon. Okay, and post-marathon as well, you want to have something available, whether it's a combination of protein and carbs. It could even be chocolate milk or something like that, just for a muscle repair, to kind of put something in your body to help replenish what you've lost and to help speed up the recovery process. You're obviously going to feel beat up, but you want to put something back into your body if your tummy can handle it. So, what you eat 2 nights before and the night before is important, and how you sleep 2 nights before. Sleep extremely well 2 nights before. Chances are you may not sleep as much the night before. That could be nerves. It just could be, it's normal. But leading up to it, obviously you want to have a consistent pattern of sleep on a regular basis. But 2 nights before, eating and sleeping, hugely, hugely important. Okay. Number 6, on race day, if you eat, okay, make sure it's obviously light, and make sure it's 3 hours before the marathon. So if your marathon goes off at 10, make sure you eat at 7. It could be light. I would avoid anything with citric acid, like orange juice, things. I would avoid anything that's, with regards to dairy. If you're going to drink coffee, no more than a little bit of milk or half and half of cream, but not like a tall glass of milk or anything like that. You want to avoid anything that could potentially upset your stomach. And heavy dairy and citric acid can do just that when you're running long races, okay, or hard races, or both. So be aware of that. What you put in your belly race day is very, very important. And like I said, in terms of long runs or marathon, have the right fuel readily available, especially if you're doing your practice. Just have a little bag with a banana and a bagel, or chocolate milk and a bagel, or something that you can put into your body after your run. Don't wait an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. 30 to 45 minutes is the ideal window to refuel after a long run, okay, to help optimize your recovery or to help speed it up. The last thing you want to do is go a couple hours without eating. So very, very important. Number 7, and this is the last one. Yeah, I mean, obviously we know it's a mentally tough race. Okay, to me, and as a coach and as a former competitive athlete, it's pretty daunting how to try to break it down into 26 pieces of mile. So there are ways you can break it down. Okay, you can break it down in increments. I like to break it down in 5 pieces or 3 pieces. Okay, 5 pieces. Okay, let's go. Piece 1, 5 miles, 1 through 5. Next one, 6 through 10, 11 through 15. 16 through 20, and then the last 10K. Okay? 8K, 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 10K. Okay? Or 5 miles, 5 miles, 5 miles, 5 miles, 10K. Okay? You can break it down that way. That way, if you're running 7-minute miles, you're looking at 35-minute blocks. Okay? For each of those segments, except for the last one. The last one's a little bit different. Or again, if whatever helps you get through it, if it's 7 minutes, that's fine as well. But to me, it helps break it down into, instead of 26 pieces, it breaks it down into 5 pieces. Okay, and I'm breaking down into 3 pieces. I do miles 1 through 10, piece 1, miles 11 through 20, piece 2, 10K, piece 3. Then you got 3 pieces. Okay, so if it's 7 minutes again, 70 minutes, an hour 10, and then the next 7 minutes, you go from hour 10 to 2 hours and 20, and then you know exactly where you are. You don't have to remember 3 numbers. Okay, it helps you kind of lock in that way. So whatever kind of mentally helps you deal with the marathon is what you do. But these at least give you options. And at least with me, I was always like a 5K or 10K type guy, or 3K mile type guy in college and even post-college. And then eventually I moved up. But a lot of the athletes that I coach, and I'm a USATF certified track coach. A lot of people that I train for the marathon, sometimes it gets in their head and they worry about these splits. So we figure out other ways to break it down. So hopefully this gives you some options as well. So with that said, I hope this video was helpful. If you find a helpful tidbit of information, that's fantastic. If you have any suggestions of your own, put them in the comments down below. I always welcome new information. I learn from athletes as much as athletes learn from me. Okay? And again, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Please hit that notification if you want to see a bunch of other great videos. All right? Talk to you guys next time. Enjoy great health and be safe. Catch you next time.